Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into FFU Fantasy Football University. I am Mr. Bill DeCouslis. I am here with Mr. Tom Lang, coming to you yet again in the off season. How you doing, Mr. Lang?
I'm doing wonderful. FFU, Billy.
FFU to you. It gets better and better every time we do it.
Yeah.
So we are, like we said, we are coming to you guys yet again in the off season, coming with our penultimate episode on the draft recap stuff. Early looks at next year's bye division, and we got some more mock draft action coming at you later. But first, we have some news to get to from around the league. Couple major points I wanted to hit on. So I wanted to reiterate. I wanted to ask your opinion, but I wanted to reiterate something I said last week about in a couple weeks about kind of not overreacting to coach speak or even player speak, because when players speak, they're always in the best shape of their life. They're always ahead of schedule on injuries. They're always everything's going amazing. And if you ask a coach about any player, they're always going to say we want to get X player more involved. We want to get them the ball more, yada 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 down the line. So it's important not to overreact to that. That having been said, there's been a lot of news about mini camp stuff. I was wondering if anything specific caught your eye, because a few things caught my.
Um, I mean, the only thing that really kind of, I know it's not really coach speak, but I guess it's something relevant to fantasy football, which is the Jordan Addison DUI, DUI trial that's going to be set for July. As of right now, I mean, that's something that kind of is like coach speak. Um, in a sense that's going to be relevant. I mean, again, dude, I mean, but your boy, Dalton Kincaid, who you've been drafting in your mock drafts, he adds strength ahead of third season. So maybe
Again with that.
that coach speak is fun to watch
But
because
that's
he's been so heavily drafted by you lately.
I know you're saying it like you're saying it halfway sarcastically and facetiously, but I'll give you an example as to one,
I know what
and
example you're going to go at.
I'm going to give you a, or you might not. Actually, I'm going to give you a bit of a tip of the cap here. So, um, now again, this is if you take Liam Cohen seriously, but which we don't. But he said that Travis Hunter, he's basically yada yada yada, swimming through his words. He's basically mostly going to be playing wide receiver, which is interesting because that's kind of you kind of that was the route that you thought. I thought he was going to be playing mostly defense and maybe throw him in on offense once or twice, very similar to what Dion did, like when he was playing. That having been said, like we both did agree, like there's no way you're going to be able to like be featured on both sides of the ball in an NFL perspective. Not to mention he's a rookie. You got to come in and learn systems and stuff. So I mean, how relevant is this? Do you think he's a relevant piece this coming year? Like a
Dude, it's
primarily,
gonna bite into Brian Thomas's
you
receptions.
really
It's
believe that? You really believe
it's an
that?
obvious.
You take Liam Cohen at his word then,
All right, you
His
can't. All right,
Duval word.
listen. I get Brian Thomas was great towards the end of the year. He finished so strong. It was amazing, right? He had a great season, great rookie season. But when you draft a talent like that, and not only that, but you make the move to draft a talent like that, you're going to utilize that player.
Certainly.
He thrives as a wide receiver. I mean, it's very apparent. He also thrives as a defensive back, but his skill is running routes, catching balls, and he's going to eat into the catching for he's going to eat into the receptions for from Brian Thomas. It's
What about
going to
opening
happen.
things up for Brian
Just
Thomas?
like we're going to piggyback into something else, which is in the same division,
Ugh.
which I'll let you
Feel
finish
it.
your little spiel. But
Save that for the end because I wanted to get through some of the other less fun
there
stuff.
is actually one other person that I do want to talk about.
Sure.
So before we get into the ending, but let's finish this conversation.
Yeah, I I'm leaning more towards the side of I'm leaning more towards kind of your sentiment, but to suggest that this like hurts Brian Thomas to the degree that you're saying, I disagree with that. But
Well, he's not going to be a number one wide receiver, which everybody's drafting him as. So I
maybe
mean, he might have number one week numbers, but he's not going to be your he's not going to be a comfortable pick as a number one wide receiver on your fantasy football roster.
I'll make a compromise with you. The way that I think about him has changed slightly, but I don't know if it's as horrendous as kind of you're insinuating. We'll see when we get to the tiers this offseason about where exactly he falls. But we could leave that. Also, that's if we're taking Liam Cohen as his word. So we know how we feel about him.
Well, you know,
Mr. Duval. So wanted to make another quick mention of Terry McLaurin. So Terry McLaurin is holding out, and he is very mad that he's not getting a Rashad Bateman contract. But he's going to be holding out until he gets whatever new contract.
they'll. I mean, I was watching some I was watching some stuff on NFL Live, and basically they were saying that it's going to happen. It's just your off-season drama, man. It's just gonna happen. This happens every single year, and what happens with team players, they have good chemistry with the roster. It works out. I'm not worried about it. I don't think there's gonna be a problem. I mean, if you watch the videos of Debo Samuel running down the field, he looks like he put like 30 pounds on. He might be Santa Claus this year. So I
He
don't.
looked like that a little bit last year too. Yeah, I
Well,
told
yeah,
you.
and then
I want to
by
take
week
my victory
six, that's
lap
when he
because
looks like Debo Samuel.
I want to take that victory lap on Debo's going to be absolutely nothing this year for nothing that's
You
going to
can't
be
take the
eating into
victory lap
anything.
until week 18.
All right. Well, that's true. I suppose I can't take it. A couple weeks in, I think
Um,
we'll be seeing how that goes.
two two
But I want
actual
to.
two actual relevant things I do want to talk about, and I know that
Sure.
you do. You have anything else to go over?
Well, I just wanted to ask you, just like because maybe opposite of you with the Brian Thomas thing, I think I'm starting to fall a little bit on Terry McLaurin. Um, this situation doesn't help on top of the fact that I really do think he was a little bit touchdown dependent last year, a little too much for as high as we were kind of initially projecting him to be. So I want to give that a little extra scrutiny when we really to look into
That's
tiers.
fine. That's fine. What's my key phrase?
Yeah,
Don't draft him.
then you don't draft him. I love how
Then you
never
don't draft him.
nobody could just disagree with you. It just has to be like,
That's
oh,
fine.
okay, like you
That's
guys,
fine. Don't
yeah.
draft him.
When we get into the tiers, we'll assess that. But go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
so two relevant things, and they are quarterback setting. There's two teams that obviously are in need of a starting quarterback. My New York Giants. I'm going to talk about them real quick. Jackson Dart is looking great. Also, Russell Wilson is looking very good as well too. So I really think as I've been spelling this through this offseason, pre-draft as well too, based on the Giants looking to draft a quarterback and potentially move up prior to the draft started. The situation that happened is I really think that you're going to fall in line with a Kurt Warner, Eli Manning situation. Middle of the season, doesn't matter how they're doing, whatever it is, even if they're winning games with Russell Wilson, he's not in a long-term contract where it's going to hurt the bank on the Giants. They're looking for long-term. And honestly, there might be a position, even if, say, the Giants, I don't think they're going to be 6-2, but say if they're 3-7 or uh, or 7-4, let's just say. All right. The schedule doesn't look like it's going to work out that way. But whatever the situation is, I really think in the middle of the season, or maybe a little bit before the middle of the season, you're going to see Jackson Dart in there, and he's going to start as quarterback, and it's just going to be the new trend.
You might
Coaching
be right,
system,
but why doesn't you don't think Jameis Winston steps a foot on the field?
no.
Do you think he
No,
gets traded?
I honestly think what's going to happen is maybe by like week 2 or 3, Jameis Winston just gets traded to a team that needs a quarterback, and honestly, the Saints could be that team. He could just go back to New Orleans.
Maybe because it looks like Tyler Show or Tyler Shuck, whatever his name is. He looks like he's going to be the starter. So I mean, you
Well,
might be
they're
right.
all booty over there, so
Listen, he's up in New
Spencer
England. So
Rattler is the guy to go with. But you know what?
uh,
Don't listen to me, New
this is
Orleans.
so ridiculous. This
Listen,
love
guys,
of
if
Spencer Rattler.
listen, New Orleans, look, I'm gonna make this very clear. New Orleans, if
Oh
you
my God,
want to lose every single game but be fantasy football relevant, go get
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Right, with that much we agree on. I thought you were about to talk about Spencer Rattler for a second.
No,
And
I mean we
all right.
might
So do
win
you want?
like 2 games
All
because
right.
like
So do
they'll
you
be
want to get
like,
to the? Do you want to get
yeah,
to the other quarterback news then?
yeah. So the other quarterback news is an old New York Giant. Daniel Jones is really impressing at Indianapolis Colt Camp, and
Can I
you know
translate
it's
this for can I translate this for the general public? It means that he's looking the least bad among the quarterbacks. Although Anthony
he's
Richardson is in
making he's making Michael Pittman relevant. It looks like in practice.
Anthony Richardson is injured at this point, right? Now, did that just come
Yeah, but
out?
I mean Anthony Richardson's always injured.
Yeah, I'm gonna revise my I'm gonna have to revise. I think, but I don't think it's because Daniel Jones just outplayed it. I think it's the injury thing and because he's the least bad. So yeah, I'll revise that. I think Daniel Jones starts the year. I don't know if Daniel Jones makes it through the whole year, but now I'm gonna have to revise the way I think about the team based on the fact of Daniel Jones playing. Basically, what that means is, I mean, maybe I'll feel maybe marginally better about the tight end situation. I don't know. How does that make you feel about Michael Pittman? Better, but I mean, still, what flex option maybe? Like,
I don't know, man.
what
We'll
do you
see.
mean you? What do you mean you don't know? Like, you're excited about this Daniel Jones? That's all you talked about, like various times throughout this offseason. So you got to have some thoughts on it.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think the relevant player is the tight end. But
Not
Michael
my.
Pittman, yeah, it's going to be Warren. It's going to be Warren, and they're going to lean towards the play action. But I think that the benefit it's going to be tight end, so it's going to be Warren, and then it's going to go to Pittman. Daniel Jones is going to hack the ball down the field like 3 or 4 times in a game, and potentially it might get caught. And if he's going to protect, there's going to be a rollout kind of play action that's going to roll out, and he's going to attempt to throw it, but then he's going to run down the field for 80 yards and then get sniped by somebody on the sideline. It's going to be yeah, it's going to be fun.
If I had to bet on a receiver being relevant in Indianapolis with Daniel Jones as quarterback, I think I would take Josh Downs. I think, but I'm not crazy about either one of them at this
Good
point
luck with
now.
that one. It's not going to happen. No, Josh Downs reminds me of what's his name on the Giants? Jalen Hyatt. He
Okay.
reminds me of a Hyatt of the Giants. That's what's going to happen. Jalen Hyatt had like some really great games, like, but they're only big bomb games. That's it. He's
Jalen
not
Hyatt
relevant.
had like 3 games in his whole career that they were relevant, and but you remembered them. But you remembered them
Yeah,
when they have. I don't
you did.
know. I don't know about that. But I know that both of those Indianapolis wide receivers are going to be in like tier 97 for us. So we'll get to
Yeah, I
that.
mean, honestly, if I could get Michael Pittman in the 18th round, I'm cool with that. Um,
It might just happen.
yeah,
We'll have to check his
the
ADP.
last thing before we get into breaking down the 4 teams is Brandon Ayuk. This is actually something I'm actually intrigued about. It could be coach speak, but I really hope it's not because they paid this guy a lot of money. Brandon Ayuk is reportedly thriving in camp. I don't know if it's the new haircut of the fro going out there. I'm not sure if you saw that photo, but literally, I don't even know how you can have a helmet underneath that thing.
And who's the
On top of
quote
that,
by? If it's Kyle Shanahan, we're not taking this seriously. And
no,
also,
no, you don't take Kyle Shanahan seriously when it's regard of his running backs. His wide receivers is a different story.
I don't take Kyle Shanahan serious. If he says the sky is blue, like nothing that man says, it's all gamesmanship. First of all, Ayuk still might get traded, so I don't even know what they're saying. And also, thriving in camp, he's coming off a horrific injury. I just I don't care what they say about that situation.
You
I'm
know
not
what he's
taking.
doing actually? He's thriving in camp to make Ricky Pearsall look better this year.
Is that what he's doing? I have to remember this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he's doing.
Okay. Any other fun coach speak? Any other little mini notes, mini news or anything?
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey's full at camp,
Yes, we know that. But and again, we'll bring this up again. We keep talking about
but
it
he
because
was
we're gonna
also
have
full at camp last year.
we're gonna get to this. I'm actually really excited a couple weeks from now when we kind of really get into the tiers of this. But um, I am seeing Christian McCaffrey as clear second tier running back. As long as you could get Garendo later on in the draft for insurance, I'm all for Christian McCaffrey this year. The 49ers have a super easy schedule. They got rid of Jordan Mason. They've retooled up. It's Kyle Shanahan. It's the 49ers. And McCaffrey's back. He was doing well last year. We'll talk more about him in the offseason a little bit, but we'll get to
Yep.
that. All right, ready for some NFC West?
Let's get it.
NFC West. So as always, we'll go over the teams in order of how they finished at the end of last year. So, surprisingly, if anybody doesn't remember, last year's winner of the NFC West was the LA Rams. So, and I had to remind myself because I forgot that they they won the division.
I mean, they had a really great year. I mean, outside of, injuries at the wide receiver position, I mean, everything
Yep,
else was really falling in line pretty nicely. And their defense was so, so, so underappreciated. They had a great defense last year, at times.
sure. They lost some of these games that they probably shouldn't have lost. But occasionally they do that. They had the whole business with Cooper Cup last year, and then he kind of fell off the planet. But so the Rams, though, in their draft, they did not have a first round pick. Just another one of those first rounders that they didn't have. They're still paying the credit card on their Super Bowl victory.
No,
Second round, they
they
go.
did have a first round pick. I believe they traded it.
That's what I'm saying. They never have a first round pick. The second round they go tight end Terrence Ferguson. So his relevance, we're not feeling that crazy about the situation. I mean, Tyler Higbee's. I mean, they have tight ends there. It's not like they're utilizing them that much. Third round pick they go edge rusher. Fourth round pick they go running back Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn. I thought he was a great player, but he's basically joining a crowded backfield. Kyron Williams, who's the lead guy, Blake Corum, who spells him. Fifth round, they go D line. This is one of these things where we say all the time, like, follow what they're drafting, follow what their needs are, but they're kind of all over the place with these picks. I don't see Terrence Ferguson making an impact. I don't see any tight end on LA being relevant for this year. Um, I think the Rams are going to be good. They're probably not going to be, I don't know if they're going to be great or anything. I know you're feeling good about Devonte Adams in general, right?
Yeah.
On the team, and
So
you're
Devontae
lower on
Adams,
Puka.
yeah, well, I'm not really, no, I've never been a Puka guy. I mean, he could get 11, 12 targets a game. I'm still not going to pick him in the first
That's
round.
okay. They'll draft him.
That's fine. Don't draft him. I won't
Yeah,
draft him. Um,
yeah.
but if he falls to the second round, I might take him. But anyway, it's not going to happen though. But anyway, I think Devontae Adams is still has his still got his motor going, and he wants to win, and he is pretty much playing. I honestly, I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is, on the Green Bay Packers when they were together there. That was the greatest position. That was the greatest combo ever. Outside of, because last year you saw some flares of that last year towards the end of the year, but I think this is the second best quarterback position that he's ever worked with. Obviously, he had a relationship with Derek Carr back before Derek Carr got traded to the Saints um, on the Raiders. But I do believe that Matthew Stafford does at time hyper targets the mass of the receiver, and
Sure.
I think because when Matthew Stafford went over to LA, and ever since Calvin Johnson, he hasn't had that like very, very big target wide receiver. And not saying that Devontae Adams is a huge target, but he's a great, great route runner. He's a great wide receiver. And Puka is a good, very good wide receiver. He's a great threat. Um, and I think if Puka does it again this year, then I'll be on the Puka train. But I just can't be there yet. I really think that Devontae Adams is going to, put up more consistent number one week numbers than Puka this year. And it's going to be
Then
relevant. It's going to be relevant to the touchdown.
if that's how you say it, then you have to see Devontae as a
The prop,
gigantic
the
value.
prop, yeah, I know. So going in the third, fourth round is
Fourth
a
round.
tremendous value. I just don't think he's going to sit there as our drafts go on through the regular season until we get to like draft season. I just don't see him being there. Um, And I think he's going to find his way closer to like the end of the second, early first. It's not early first, end of the second, or early third. Um, so I just value wise, I just don't know if people are going to take him there. Um, but I do value, I do see him as a tier three wide receiver, to be honest.
I mean, then you just have him as a gigantic value. I mean, this is going to be one situation, Puka and Devontae, where I think we're just going to end up with different opinions here. I think you're seeing Puka too low, and I think you're seeing Devontae too high. Whatever, we can
I
have a general,
also, and
we can have a
in regarding
disagreement
this
about it.
team, and regarding this team too, I do see Blake Corum cutting into some of Kyron Williams, rushing attempts this year.
That's an interesting take. I mean, Kyron Williams basically has been the darling of volume. Let's say he's been the
Yeah.
guy getting everything. Therefore,
Well,
he's been great.
he's
Um,
been the guy that's been getting 20 touches and three touchdowns 3, 4 times a year, or like 3, 4 games a year.
we are. I mean, I haven't taken Kyron Williams once in any of the mock draft stuff, and I don't think it's because I hate Kyron Williams or anything. I just think that it seems like maybe there's maybe a slight lack in upside that we're not as
Well,
excited about the
it's
situation.
depending
Maybe
on, I guess it's depending on where you're drafting him. I do value
I
him
suppose.
at his tier is getting higher. But I do think that this is not like your Lions situation where you're going to be able to split carries and find value in 100%. I think one of them, at least one of whoever's in there is going to take away the value of the other player. And they're not going to it's not going to commingle. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just think
It's
that offense rolls better with one primary. And it's because it's not going to be like a 50-50 split. It would always be with, especially
sure.
with the coaching over there. He's like 70-30 or 80-20 or nothing. So
Yeah, well, he basically got 95-5. It's basically, I mean, so if you're saying he'll cut in more, to what degree? It's an interesting take. I didn't actually consider that. I guess the
I think
entire
it's going to
draft
be about a
community,
70-30. And Blake Corum is the same kind of running back as Kyron Williams.
kind of,
Hard-nosed,
yeah,
hard-nosed guy.
hard-nosed
It's going to go
volume
up the middle.
guy,
It's
right?
going to he could get 2.5 yards every single down.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's an interesting point you bring up. I do want to push you on something that you mentioned about Puka, about one of your hesitations. You said if you'll quote unquote believe it if it happens again. You got to remember it happened 2 years in a row. Puka was just injured for the first 8 games. The second he comes back, he is dominant. So he had an amazing rookie year, a dominant second year for the games that he played in. That's not good enough for you.
No, I'm not there yet.
Okay, I will have to see again. We'll have to see when we do the tiers just how far below that is. Now, again, if you're saying second round, you're good enough for that. Okay, so that's not a crazy drop for you. But like, if you still think Devontae is going to outperform Puka, then Devontae is a gigantic, gigantic value for you. Again, we might have some. We'll review that. We'll see about those disagreements. Any other points on the Rams?
No. I think obviously the tight end position used to be super valuable. I just don't think it's as valuable anymore.
I would have to look at the history. I think it basically became that was it's maybe it
It's
was a
just
little bit
trendy.
like
And
the
also,
first.
and also, he was hurt last year, so it
I
really
know.
didn't help the value of Tyler Higbee.
I don't think it's been relevant for a number of years now, but like before, until their Super Bowl year, that was it, I think.
No.
Um, so let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks, who, again, like I said it 9 times this offseason, I cannot believe they won 10 games last year. This is another one that just I completely forgot. So Seattle, I thought they had a great draft, but not as many fantasy relevant stuff. First round they go tackle, second round they go safety. I thought the safety out of South Carolina, I thought he was one of the best players in the draft. They get him in the second round. Another second round pick, they go tight end Elijah Arroyo. So whether or not the tight end is going to have some fantasy relevance in Seattle, we're not sure. We're not sure about a lot of things in Seattle, considering Darnold's coming in now.
You
But
got Darnold, you got Jalen Milroe, you got
right.
Drew Lock back in the field.
Third round, they go Jalen Milrose place. He's the backup quarterback in Seattle. So, here's my question because we haven't really dived into the Seattle situation here. Um, every time that we see Cooper Cup hanging around in the late rounds, I know you and I have been touch and go about whether we actually take him.
I think it's so much value.
You think it's value at that point?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you think he's got
the more,
left in the tank
and
then?
I will tell you this, and I know you're not managing our TikTok and all that stuff, but there are a lot of people out there saying, why are you doing mock drafts? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that this early? Like, and it's because you have to see trends. You have to see what the value that's presenting you right now. That gives you the opportunity to create tiers on players. You can see, where things are going to fall over time. If you're just going to go out there and just draft, you're not educating yourself. So we take, again, you take this serious and when you play in high volume leagues as well, so you want to make sure that you're putting yourself in the right position to win. I really think that, and let me manage this between Cooper Cup and Devontae Adams. All right. So
Okay.
Devontae Adams is a round 3, 4 guy. All right. I believe that Cooper Cup is going to have a little less action than Devontae Adams this year based on the quarterback play. But I think value wise, as a wide receiver too, he has so much upside drafting him in the 10th round.
Yeah, he's
So
he's
much
not
upside.
he's not going as a wide receiver too. He's going as
What I'm saying is is
yeah,
is if
it's a value.
it's a tremendous value. You're taking him as your wide receiver 4 or 5.
Right. But you see him as a wide receiver too.
He can finish the year as a wide receiver too. I don't think JSN is a wide receiver one that's gonna. I think
Right.
I think what happened was
We both
last year.
feel that way about JSN.
Yeah,
Right.
I think what happened was last year that DK Metcalf got little butthurt that somebody else was out there catching balls. He had nice chemistry with his with
2 seconds
Pittsburgh.
into the conversation about the Seahawks, we got Metcalf.
And and then he finds his way somewhere else, and then Tyler Lockett goes, to Neverland to the Tennessee Titans, and then you just have JSN, and then in the offseason before Cooper Cup goes over there, MVS goes over there, and you're like, oh wow, now you have JSN and MVS, two acronym names, and then you go to Cooper Cup. Cooper Cup goes over there and it's like, whoa, you got like that's a splash. That's a wide receiver one that should have been on the Green Bay Packers. So I really think that
Shots are being fired.
I really think that Cooper Cup is going to have he's going to finish, he's not going to be your wide receiver one numbers. But I really think that he's going to finish up with wide receiver two numbers. He's going to finish up in the top 25.
It's a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him.
It is.
No, there's no way. I do think that's a bridge too far.
He's gonna finish the season, and if he finishes higher than this, oof, this is gonna be amazing. But
Do you think
he's
did,
gonna
did
finish as wide receiver 22 if he stays healthy the entire season.
we
Check that.
okay, let me parlay that because we didn't actually spend any time on this part. So we both feel that Darnold is going to do significantly less well as what he did last year. To
I mean, I agree. I agree to an extent, right?
to
Like,
what degree is a question, right? So, but you
what
think
to,
if he's going to support
I
Cooper
think
Cup to the
honestly,
degree, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
he has a younger, better running game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet.
Sure.
So
Better.
younger,
Okay.
a younger, better running game than he did in Minnesota.
At the time. Okay. Right.
And I think that he's gonna lean towards that. Plus, also, you saw it last year. He really does well with the play action play. So I do think that, and also, Cooper Cup is a possessional receiver. He also could catch the ball 40 yards down the field as well too. JSN is a big-bodied guy. He's going to go down the field. MVS is just run straight down the field and hopefully he catches the ball. 80 yards and touchdown or nothing. That's the team. So I really think that they could be another surprise team this year.
I I don't know, man. I think you're giving a little bit too much credit. I mean,
They
just remember,
might they might let me put it this way. If if the Rams are not as good on defense as they were last year, because we all know there's trendy years that like defense camaraderie doesn't work the same way it did the prior year, but even with the same roster, you get a little beef with people on that roster. You're not clicking the same way. There's another contender, which we'll talk about them next, but there's another contender that I think that if they do not contend for the number one spot, this team right here, the Seattle Seahawks, could win the division.
But why do you think that? Like, there's no way. Can I just read you Darnold's stuff before last year? He had a
That's
great year
fine.
last year, but Darnold before last year, okay, 17 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 9 touchdowns, 11, 9, 13, 7, 3. Like Darnold,
Because they did it with Geno Smith.
Darnold had an amazing year last year with a great team around him and Kevin O'Connell as the head coach. There's no way he is going to regress so far. It's part of the reason why we just don't have the confidence in JSN. If you think they're going to have a chance at competing in the division, man, you have a massive overstatement on this one. Cooper Cup probably going. I mean, again, if he's going in the 10th round, maybe that's a value. But to suggest that he's going to be finishing as wide receiver two, I think it's a big. We should change this to bold predictions. It's the name of this episode. Um, but
Bold
okay,
predictions.
yeah, bold indeed. Uh, bold indeed. But you actually you do believe they're going to be competitive then, the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
I
The
want to
more the
take.
more research, the more research I watch, and the more research I read on this team, I really think that they're in a really good position to surprise people again.
Okay, I want to make our second ice bath bet of the year. We have currently one on George Kittle versus Ricky Pearsall. So now I want to get one. Let's pick an over under on Seahawks wins.
All right, what's your pick?
Okay, if you think they're going to be competitive, then that means they have to have a winning record. So that means the over under is would be 8.5. I'll take
Over.
the un I'll take the under.
9 wins.
Okay. I don't even think they get to 8. I'll take the under. Ice bath it is.
All right. Well, looks like you're gonna be actually, now we're gonna make it a timed ice bath. So it's 5 minutes at 39, 5 minutes at 39 degrees, for the if it's all right, 2.5 minutes per win. So it just basically levels off. All right.
You've done more calculations on the ice bath than anything else. All right, so that'll be a fun, pointless thing. We got to remember, we got to keep track of these, so we'll keep that in mind. So good. We have two locked in ice bath bets. All right.
Somebody's getting hypothermia.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, boys and girls, if anybody doesn't remember, the team that finished third last year was the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep, and that's the team I'm talking about, actually, not your 49ers.
Yeah, so I just want to, we'll get into the draft in a minute, which I was actually really impressed with their draft. I thought they did exactly what they needed to do, which is go all defense, which is what they did. But Tommy and I have been saying this entire offseason, okay? You know, they were among the most disappointing teams last year in terms of expectations and hopes that we had on their players like Kyler and Marvin Harrison, etc. But like they have to get better because they have to get better. There is no alternative. Kyler's gone if they don't do well. The coach is gone. The whole team is gone. Harrison's a bust. The GM is gone. The whole kit and caboodle is gone if they don't succeed. But they did well to determine first round D line, second round cornerback, third round edge, and every one of these guys was awesome. Fourth round linebacker, fifth round cornerback. So there we go. They went entirely defense. I do agree that they're going to be competitive last year. I would have the Cardinals pegged to be competing for the number 2 slot because I do think the 49ers win this division.
No.
Um, okay. Okay. Well, the ice bath on that one, but all right, my question to you is does I got a few questions for you on this. So does James Conner make it all the way through as the starting running back? Is this his last hurrah? Does he even it's a full year of it? What do you think?
We've been saying it's James Conner's last hurrah for the past 3 years.
Okay, so we're gonna stop saying
This
that.
guy comes out of nowhere every single year, and he's literally like the Brian Robinson, but the original Brian Robinson.
Okay,
No, James Conner is going to be a touchdown magnet. Um,
as
he's
always.
he's just going to score touchdowns, and I don't see a regression. Do I see carries being taken away from him to an extent? Yeah, because you got five running backs on that roster. You got Trey Benson, you got DeMarcado, you got
Trey Benson's the only one of any
but
consequence.
you got Michael Carter, who was relevant on the Jets at one point. You
Yeah,
got DJ Dallas, who was relevant on the Seahawks at one point.
for like 3 seconds, but you're right. Go ahead.
He was, I plugged them in sometimes in my flex play, sometimes when needed.
So you lost those weeks.
No, he got like
If
five
you had,
points.
if you had nine, better than a zero, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Maybe Trey Benson becomes a thing towards the end of the year, but I mean, Connor's their guy, and he's really good.
Let's just put it this way. I mean, I really think that they have the best tight end in football on their roster, and that's saying a lot right there because you got Bauer out there, but Trey McBride, he
Sure.
is he's a paid man. I don't see him becoming what's his name? I don't speak his name anymore because he was on the Giants after he came from the Lions. Who was my boy? Who was
Kenny
my boy?
Galladay.
Who I thought what?
Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, Galladay. Yeah, we don't talk about him anymore as Giant fans.
Oh my God.
But he's not a Kenny
Compa
Galladay
in
situation.
comparison,
Trey McBride, um, he is going to get 140 targets, 100 receptions, 110 receptions,
he's gonna be great.
and score touchdowns this year. Um, I think this passing game is going to be incredible. Um,
I think and therefore, especially because Kyler runs, he doesn't run as much as I think he should
this
run, but I
this
think
is the
he's a good value
season.
because of this.
This is the season to draft Kyler Murray.
Ugh, we say it all the time.
No, and he is valuable. He is
Ugh.
valuable early on in the season, then he runs too much and he gets hurt.
He was the most
This
painful quarterback 11.
this is the
Oh,
season to draft Kyler Murray as your quarterback. This
okay.
would be, and let me put it this way. I really think that if you draft Kyler Murray and you pair him with Marvin Harrison or you pair him with Trey McBride, you're going to be really happy.
I halfway agree with you. I think the price on Kyler is so good right now that I agree with what you're saying. However, but
I
the
would
price,
rather pair him with Harrison over
yes,
McBride based on value.
that's what I'm saying. The price on McBride is gigantic right now.
Yeah.
And with Bowers, rightfully so. Um, they have to exceed ceiling. Like it's got to be an amazing year. It's such a difficult pick in the second round to just go Trey McBride like that. Um,
I mean,
Marvin Harrison is better, but you are still making a commitment on him, second, third round, basically. What is it, third round at this point? Like, I mean,
end of
it,
third.
yeah, but you're basically calling him out as like if he's not your wide
He's in the
receiver
he
one, he's
there. I see he fin. Honestly, I project him as a tier three wide receiver right now. He's your tier four, five wide receiver at least.
I guess. I mean, it depends on where you define tiers, but I just see it's a I maybe you're right. Maybe the pendulum is swinging a little too far because of how bad he disappointed people last year. But a lot of that was just draft capital. I mean, you drafted the highest rookie drafted fantasy receiver ever.
Yeah, but it was also a situation where Kyler Murray was just very mature in his press conferences, and he just was not. Everything was going to Trey McBride and Michael Wilson.
Right. But again, I mean, like, and by the way, we laughed about this when we heard it, like coach speak. For Kyler to say in an interview, "Oh yeah, the coaches told me not to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison," or whatever he said,
No,
why?
his words were like it was like basically I'm not supposed to always throw to somebody or something like that. Whatever it was in those elements and like just he's your best wide receiver. Why aren't you
Right.
utilizing him? And again, I could look at it from football perspective. maybe he was drawing attention away. But like if you're winning games, that's fine. But if you're not winning games, you need to put your best players in position to help you win.
We also said it a little bit this offseason, and Pro Football Focus does a good dive into this. I don't think Marvin Harrison was at his best last year anyway. I think that
Yeah,
he
he
was a
looks
lot.
slow.
He didn't look right. He didn't look particularly explosive. His routes weren't that good.
But
It was just
I think there's going to be a massive change this year.
yeah. I mean, he comes from a football pedigree. Maybe we should start feeling better about the
I
situation.
feel really good about him.
Try to look at it. Yeah,
Hey, listen, like honestly, I'll put it
I,
this way: if he's in
I'm
the
inclined
third
to agree with
round,
you.
say as we're doing our mock draft today, if he's in the third round and I go running back, and he's a wide receiver one, potentially sitting there, I'm taking him.
I,
I will value him on a really dominant running back team in a mock draft or just in a regular draft. I will value him as a wide receiver one. He's not going to put up wide receiver one numbers, but I'm gonna bolster that wide receiver position after that.
okay. Well, if anything, like we say all the time, the the Cardinals by going all defense, they're telling you we're hoping to improve on whatever happened existing on offense, and man, they're going to need to. So but we're feeling pretty good about it. So I'm inclined to agree with everything you mentioned about it. I do see them being competitive and taking some steps forward on offense. Um, all right, so let's get into San Francisco 49ers here. So San Francisco, um, but they were here's another one that they basically went all defense. First round
They
edge
needed
rusher.
to. They lost a lot.
First round they needed it. You're right. And San Francisco's always got a good defense. They went there. First round edge rusher Michael Williams out of Georgia, awesome player. Second round D line out of Texas Alfred Collins. Third round linebacker. Another third round cornerback. Fourth round D line. They don't go wide receiver till the fourth round. Jordan Watkins out of Ole Miss. So and he's basically walking into a pretty filled wide receiver room now. So again, we're going to be hopefully seeing a resurgence of what was once the 49ers offense. This is Christian McCaffrey at his best, hopefully. Brock Purdy's now paid. Uh, Tommy's of the opinion that the passing game is going to be good. He thinks more of it goes to Pearsall. Do you think more of it goes to Pearsall? I think it's going to be a Kittle more similar to what they've had.
I think it's going to be a different offensive look, to be honest. Because a lot and I do believe that I think more the predominant passes are going to go to Pearsall because of the player that he is and where they drafted him and what they want to revolve around him. But losing Debo and trade, Debo was a primary. And did you watch receivers?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear Shanahan talking about how he was basically like when Debo going down, he's a vital role of that offense and how he strategizes games.
Yes.
So I really think that when you lose a player of that caliber, um, to an extent, I mean, you're going to have to reconstruct your roster. You're going to have to reconstruct your direction. And now your direction is not Brock Purdy. Your direction is Christian McCaffrey, which is perfectly fine. But you need to have a healthy Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey and Isaac Guerrero are not the same player.
No.
So when Debo's on the field and Isaac Guerrero was in there in place of Christian McCaffrey, it worked because you were able to take away from that position. But I don't think you have that. Maybe they utilize George Kittle to that extent.
No, don't start. No.
But
It's not. They're gonna utilize McCaffrey as the
you know,
workhorse,
I
like you
don't think
said.
they'll. I honestly, I don't think they'll be able to use George Kittle in that extent because then his real name will be George Brittle. So
Yeah, very good.
yes.
Didn't there? I can see them. Yeah, going back to some running game, and Shanahan stuff comes out of nowhere. The way that they do running game stuff, they could do short passing that turns into a running game kind of stuff. I think you're gonna go back to some old 49er stuff. Now, you definitively don't think the 49ers win this division.
I think they might finish where they finished last year.
I could so disagree with you. I think the 49ers win the division, and
I will tell you this. I think, and I know I said this last week with the AFC South. I think it's the same scenario. I think it's a dogfight to the finish. And every single one of these teams is decently good. Not great, but they have an opportunity to be great. So I really think that every single one of these rosters have tremendous talent around them, and it's going to be a really, really grueling. There's not one team that's going to break 11 wins this year.
Okay. All
It,
right.
it's going to be a very, very tight finish. Do
Okay.
you might have three teams that finish 10-7.
Maybe, but I see the team that doesn't as the Seahawks. But
I said nine.
okay. We did the over under 8.5.
Yep.
It'll be,
Nine.
I think it'll be a fun division. I honestly going back to the Cardinals, man, I really hope you're right about it because you're starting to talk me into like I'm trying to temper my expectations, but I
Is
really hope
this
so.
is this me talking into you drafting specific players that I really don't want, but I want you to take the narrative and take those players ahead of me?
Because that'd be some three-dimensional chess. So I don't know if I don't know if you have it in you for that.
No, I wouldn't do that to our viewers. Just to screw one person. Actually, if it would screw everybody.
All right. Well, speaking of drafting, so we'll get to this pretty quick here. Let's jump into our mock draft. So we're gonna go 12 teams. We're gonna go single flex, half PPR, and any other explanations while I set this up on our screen here.
Yeah, we're gonna do all 13 rounds.
Let's no, let's just get through 10. Let's try to
Okay.
field a roster. Let's get through
Yeah,
this one
so yeah,
pretty
so
quick here.
basically it's all set up as quarterback, two running back, two wide receiver, tight end, full flex, so wide receiver, running back, tight end, defense. We will not be picking defense since we are obviously drafting 10 rounds. Billy is drafting at the 4 spot. I am drafting at the 9 spot. I really wanted to draft back to back where you might want to silence your sound.
Absolutely not. We're gonna enjoy the sound. So yeah, I'm at the fourth spot. Tommy's at the ninth spot. We'll jump into this quick here. So team one, two, and three: Barkley, Chase, and Lamb. Half PPR. I'm taking my number one running back off the board. For me, it's easy. It's Bijan here. And we'll get into this offseason a bit more about why I think that in tiers and stuff. So Bijan's off the board. Following Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka Nacua. Now Tommy's up. Tommy doesn't have to be forced with Puka.
Yeah, so as we were talking earlier today and last week and the weeks prior, I don't value Brian Thomas as a tier 2 wide receiver. Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors are pretty much the values I see there. Um, but like I said earlier, I am valuing I'm gonna try this strategy I think today where I'm gonna go two running back to back. So Derrick Henry I'm very, very high on this year. I think he's going to continue his trend. So I'm going to take Derrick Henry with this number 9 pick. And then after Derrick Henry, Malik Neighbors goes, Collins goes, Brock Bowers goes in the first round, Brian Thomas, Devon Achane, and Austin Genty goes to Team 10. And I am back on the clock. Um, so we discussed this player. I think he is a very, very great value. He did tremendous when the Panthers were not great as well record-wise, and now he's on the San Francisco 49ers. He showed great promise, and I will be taking Christian McCaffrey with my second pick.
You talked about
Um,
him like nobody knows who he is. It's like
um,
AJ Brown, Bucky Irving went to Drake London, Trey McBride. I would have considered Trey McBride just for a little variety if he
oh,
fell.
you could get your guy. You could get your guy.
Right, but oh my
No,
guy here.
yeah, you can.
I can. Well, I'm just gonna since it's a single flex, I'm still more inclined to grab a running back, of which I still see some good running backs a little bit later on. I'm gonna take my guy Ladidi Metcalfe and get it over with, so we get him out the way.
All right, then Josh Allen goes, JSN goes, Tyreek Hill, Jaden
Oh,
Daniels. Oh wow, back to
lovely.
back. Lamar Jackson goes, Garrett Wilson goes, and Billy is back on the clock.
Back on the clock. Not a single running back went in. in
That
the
was
turnaround back to
pretty
me.
lucky for you.
Yeah, so back on the clock here. Eyeing down me some Josh Jacobs. Kyron Williams is also on the board. Chase Brown, who I don't think we've done enough talking about
No,
this
dude,
offseason.
you
Uh,
gotta take the guy. You gotta take the guy. JT, JT all day.
with Daniel Jones at quarterback, is he going to vulture that and the team's going to be bad? I'm going to go Josh Jacobs here.
That's a mistake.
Little bit of variety. After Jacobs off the board, Higgins, Jonathan Taylor, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, man, teammate, load up on receivers there, and Tom's back on the clock at
Here
number
we
9.
go. So I made it very clear earlier today, basically when we were discussing the NFC West. I really feel really good about Marvin Harrison this year. So as my wide receiver one, I'm comfortable with taking him, plugging him in there. I have a great start with Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. So wide receiver one coming off the board in the third round is Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison. After Marvin Harrison, Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, Chase Brown, James Cook, Brees Hall, Jalen Hurts, and now Tommy's back.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the area where we're a little cautious. I'm not looking to take Mr. George Kittle over here as Billy would love him. He's never going to find him in the fifth round anymore, so he'll never be able to draft
Yeah.
George Kittle anymore. This is why, and again, this is why we are doing drafts. This is why we're doing drafts this early, so you can see the trends. So you really could see what's happening in the market of fantasy football. So, players are rising, players are dropping based on injuries. It's going to change drastically. So, it's really great to see how your rosters could line up. And yeah, back to it, Tom. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a little nervous about taking this player right now. But I do feel a lot better this year. DJ Moore. Uh, he's been taken as a wide receiver one on many of Billy's rosters, as I've noticed. And, based on our conversation, I mean, I really think that Williams, he does have to get better. Um, but what?
Yeah, does that mean you're taking him or not?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Well, you've got 3 hours and 58 minutes to make your decision.
Yeah,
So.
so I'm going to be talking about this for the next 3 hours and 58 minutes. But actually, I'm going to go in a different route. I do value another player that's higher than him, and his name is Cortland Sutton. I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton
Nice,
with
nice.
my number 4 pick. And then
Yeah,
after that, Alvin Kamara goes, DJ Moore goes, Joe Burrow goes, and Rashee Rice goes, and Billy's on the clock.
yeah. There's a couple of these guys that
George
I've
Kittle.
been. There's a couple of these guys that I've been gunning for in the fourth round. All three of them went. Cortland Sutton's a wide receiver target. DJ Moore is the other wide receiver target for me in the fourth round. Alvin Kamara has been my running back target in the fourth. All three of which left. So I kind of have to see where I'm at now. I could go the George Kittle route. I've been basically hoping that I get George Kittle in the fifth. But to Tommy's point, man, the trends have been just going up and up and up. He's basically now guaranteed to go in the fourth, if not earlier. So I could pull the trigger on George Kittle here, or I could continue to bolster my team. I have been all about some Xavier Worthy, but I don't. I think it's a little bit early for that. I'm not crazy about the guys ahead of him. At the running back side, if I want to bolster that, I'm not crazy at the moment about some of the options here. I think I could get some guys on the way back. Um, you know what? For that reason, I'll pull the trigger on George Kittle just because
Oof.
I think some guys coming on the way back. So we'll go George Kittle.
Disgusting. Then after that, Chuba Hubbard goes, Walker goes,
Wow.
Hawkinson, Mixon, Montgomery, and Hampton. So 5 running backs off the board after Billy decided to take a tight end. You're back on the clock.
Well, none of the receivers that none of the receivers went off the board. I am hoping that he's never going to make it back. He's never going to make it back, Xavier Worthy.
Nope.
I love taking that shot here. You know what? I'll take a little bit of a reach on him. People could hear like if you believe in a guy, you believe they're going to be explosive. But I need a wide receiver too. Um, I think DK Metcalf is going to be a bit more consistent than I do think Worthy's going to have a great year, but it's going to be a little inconsistent to start with. I'll go with DJ Metcalf, and I'll hope that
DJ?
Worthy may
DJ Metcalf?
DK Metcalf, and I'll hope that Worthy makes it back. He probably won't, but we'll see about that. Devontae Smith goes after James Conner, the aforementioned James Conner, Sam Laporta, Chris Olave. Tommy's back. Nice balanced team for Tommy here.
Yeah, nice balanced team. So I'm looking at another wide receiver here, and Xavier Worthy is. I'm joking.
Go ahead, it's fine.
No, I actually don't
You don't
value
believe
Xavier.
in Worthy this year
No, I
anyway.
don't. But there is a player that I do believe in, and he is sitting right there with a questionable target right there. My boy,
Excuse me.
Chris Godwin. I
Yeah, go
really
for it.
think he's going to have a tremendous year this year.
You could probably get him on
Um,
the way back.
no, I'm fine. I'm gonna draft him right now, and Zay Flowers goes, Mahomes goes, Jones goes, Addison. There goes Xavier Worthy, and Jalen Waddle goes. So four wide receivers goes off the board, and I'm back in the clock. And so here now I have two running backs, three wide receivers, and I need to make a position move. I'm potentially looking to go back to running back here. There are a few decent running backs that I'd value to take in this position. I'm not as high on Isaiah Pacheco as much as I really valued him last year. Um, Based on that injury, they don't really favor and really lean to the run as much as they used to. Now that can obviously drastically change. I'm just a little nervous about that running game, so I'm not sure if I can really pull the trigger on him there. Um, Harvey in this position right here, I just don't. I think he's being
I
overdrafted,
agree. I agree
to be
100%
honest.
about him.
And so kind of right now, I'm kind of between a Tyrone Tracy who had tremendous value last year and a Judkins from Cleveland, who split carries in at Ohio State. A rookie running back, with he split carries with Travion Henderson. Um, Travion Henderson has moved up drastically through drafts, which kind of scares me to draft him as that position right there. But I think right now if I need a running back, I'm going to go with the Tyrone Tracy because of the value of a first round running back, basically a starting running back in that position right there. It could be a really good opportunity for me to plug him in if needed in that flex play. And obviously Christian McCaffrey goes down. You just never know. So then after that, McMillian goes, um, yeah, from Carolina. Then Mayfield field goes,
Not
Pickens,
the
and
other
then Pollard.
McMillian. Pickens and then Pollard, if anybody. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, the McMillian who the lesser McMillian in
Yeah,
my
the
opinion.
lesser of
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, so I'm back on the clock here. I'd like to try to get a running back if possible, if not a wide receiver, but a couple of definitely some good wide receivers on the board, especially some of which ones that we're feeling real good at, a little bit lower down the line here. Jacoby Myers, I'm feeling good about. Tommy and I are both feeling good about Khalil Shakir. Jamison Williams looks like a great option for explosiveness if you need it. But considering we got some other options down below, I'm going to try to focus on running back here. Not, I echo all of Tommy's sentiments about Pacheco and Harvey. Judkins, I don't think takes over until later on in the year. I think it's Ford's job for most of the year. Henderson, I'm worried about. Swift is the wild card here in the sixth because he's got the backfield to himself on what is supposed to be, a much better offense. We've also got the criminally underrated Brian Robinson, who I could probably get on the way back. So I'm going to try to get one of those back.
You're probably not going to get him on the way back.
Swift or Robinson. Um, and for now, and if not, maybe I could get Jacoby or something all the way on the way back. But for now, I'll take the explosiveness in Williams, and I'll see which of those running backs I get on the way back. Pacheco's gone, Judy's gone, Adunze, Swift is now gone, Jonnu Smith, Judkins,
Oh, you almost missed it.
and now I'm back here. To me, I'm gonna locked and loaded. I'm taking Brian Robinson here. After Robinson, Bo Nix is gone, Travis Kelsey's gone, Travion Henderson, Ryan Harvey, Tommy's on the clock.
All right, so This is a position right here that I actually may take a risky pick. There's two risky picks in this position right here between Calvin Ridley and also Brandon Ayuk. Now, Brandon Ayuk obviously is coming off the injury. That is a riskier pick. But I like what I'm seeing at OTAs right now, and I like what I'm seeing with the chemistry that's between Cam Ward and also Calvin Ridley. So, as a wide receiver four, I would not have a problem taking Calvin Ridley at this pick here. I will be passing on my dear Khalil Shakir,
Interesting.
unfortunately. Um, but I do think that Calvin Ridley is going to have some tremendous opportunities this year to, they're going to be playing from behind. I think that he's also a really, really great player to have these trick plays, and you saw it last year. And just imagine what's going to be with Cam Ward. So value play right there. After that, Hunter goes, Andrews goes, Goff, Shakir goes, Ayuk, and then Najee Harris goes, and I am back on the clock. So. I think right now is a no-brainer. We were talking earlier today about Cooper Kupp. Have such great high hopes on him, and I really, if this wasn't lining up this way, I probably would have taken him. But I do need some positional players when it comes down to quarterback and tight ends to fill my roster right now. And if we were playing just a regular game and I was looking to just kick on the quarterback, I'd probably do so and take Cooper Kupp. Again, I think he's going to be a tremendous value, and it really hurts me not to be able to take him right here. But Kyler Murray is the next guy up, and I'm going to basically pair him with Marvin Harrison.
Ugh, nice. I
After
mean, I
that,
was
after that, Herbert
nice.
goes, Warren goes, Cup goes, and then Samuel goes, and Billy's back on the clock, and he's going to take his law firm.
I'm going to take my law firm, and I'll just point out that if Kyler was available, I probably would have taken Kyler here too. So that's a perfectly good pick. I'll take Jacoby Myers as my fourth wide receiver. So after him, Josh Downs goes. Caleb Johnson, who I think Caleb Johnson's got a chance this year to be relevant, depending on how you see the Pittsburgh
Yeah,
backfield stuff.
Jalen Warren has dropped so far in the past couple weeks. So, I mean, OTAs is really, being a big, big opportunity for these rookies to showcase.
I know. It's just amazing how fickle like the world is with that. After Myers goes Downs, Caleb Johnson, Stephon Diggs, Travis Etienne, Matthew Golden, Evan Ingram, and then I'm back on the clock here. I still need to grab a quarterback, and I've only got two picks to do it. So I see the Dak Prescott pick on the way back as a perfectly acceptable possibility. In terms of my other options here, the only other position I would thinking of grabbing is running back. I don't think. Um, excuse me. I don't think Javonte Williams makes it back. We keep saying he's going to be a value just for straight up volume, and I'll grab my quarterback on the way back. So I'll get Javonte here.
That's a good pick. Then after that, Jordan Love goes, Njoku goes, Ricky Pearsall, my darling goes, and wide receiver one, and if Green Bay, Jaden Reed goes. And I'm back on the clock. So I'm at a position where I do need to take a tight end. I've been talking about him very heavily this year. And I really think that this rookie tight end is going to make splashes this year. I don't think he's going to have splashes like Trey McBride did in his rookie year. I don't think that he's going to have the same kind of relevance as Brock Bowers, but I do believe that Tyler Warren is in a really good position to have a really good year and finish in, top six tight ends. And that's not saying a lot, but it's saying that you're going to see a lot of consistency, and he's not going to be a streaming tight end towards the end of the year. So I'm going to take him with my ninth pick. After that, Stevenson goes, Kraft goes, Purdy goes, Pittman, Spears. Caleb Williams, and I am back on the clock. And so I am, obviously, as Billy has expressed, if you're going to take Christian McCaffrey, you really do need to take Isaac Orindo. So if, I'm just going to put this out there because I have two players that have positional potential takeaways. Um, you know, Cam Scabuto, basically on the Giants, can really take away or take opportunities away from Tracy. Tracy did show injuries last year at some extent. Obviously, there was a lot of different players on that roster that started the position. But and so if you're drafting two of these players in the same roster, I would have your spell back as a backup just in case, because I do see relevance on both teams. But in this case, I would normally take Isaac Orindo, but I wanna switch it up a little bit, and have a little bit more depth at the running back position. And with the signing of J.K. Dobbins to Denver, I'm taking J.K. Dobbins. And then after that, Dalton Kincaid goes, Ferguson goes, Mooney goes, Charbonnet goes, and Billy's back on the clock for the last pick.
Yeah, I'll definitely be taking Dak Prescott here, but just a quick comment on the Dobbins thing. This is gonna I can every week of the NFL season, we're gonna be talking about Denver backs, like free agent, like who's it gonna be this year? It's gonna be very similar to what we had last year with
Dobbins
like,
is the boss.
yeah, it's for like 2 games, and then it's gonna be the combination of here we go. Let's turn the tides with Audric Estime
Hey,
and
as
blah, blah, blah.
as uh as running back four, I'm cool with it. And then I'll have my backups after that. We'll be good to
That's
go.
fine. All right. I'll take my Dak Prescott here, and the other picks are Dowdle, Stroud, White, and then we're calling it a day after the 10th round for today. So nice job for me. My roster is Dak Prescott at quarterback, Bijan and Josh Jacobs. My running backs, Ladd McConkey and DK Metcalf. George Kittle's my tight end. Right now, I got Jameson in my flex. My backups are Brian Robinson. I was happy about that pick. Jacoby Myers and Javonte Williams.
I got Kyler, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Warren, Chris Godwin, Tyron Tracy, Tyrone Tracy, sorry, brother, Calvin Ridley, and J.K. Dobbins.
There we go. So everybody can let us know who you think won that
I
draft.
appreciate everybody just voting for me. That'd be great.
Yeah. Closing thoughts, sir?
Yeah, we truly appreciate everybody taking the time to, obviously visit our site. If you could subscribe, share, we truly appreciate it. Again, we thoroughly enjoy everybody that takes the opportunity to watch this and listen to it. And we're only here to help you guys. We enjoy what we're doing. So you guys can make fun of it all you want. We don't care. We're here to obviously continue to do this, and we love it. So, you have any closing thoughts, Billy?
No, we're here to help everybody. Right now, we're finishing out more reflection kind of stuff and mock drafts or whatever. But we got some good content coming up here, some real good stuff. So we're
Oh, you
excited.
better be
We're
ready.
excited to give you guys that. So cool. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.